The stadium I chose to do for my international stadium report is the Stockholm Olympic Stadium in Stockholm, Sweden. The reason I chose to do this stadium is because the Olympic world record holder for pole vault is a Swedish jumper, and I just find that it's very interesting because he is actually a citizen of the United States. Mondo was raised by two Olympian parents, and he was actually raised in Louisiana, but due to the fact that the United States has age restrictions on when you are allowed to start pole vaulting, he declared from a very young age that he was going to be a Swede so that he could jump legally. Mondo Duplantis went to LSU, or Louisiana State University, and he has already broken the record multiple times. So the stadium was actually built in 1912, and it was inaugurated on June 1st, and it was built for the Olympic Games that year. It was initially meant to be a temporary stadium because most of the Olympic stadiums before that year had been temporary, and that was, as I said, the initial idea with this, but eventually the city decided that they wanted it to be a permanent building, so they commissioned Torben Grutt to design the building. He was a Swedish architect, and the building was constructed using all Swedish materials. The stadium was once again used for Olympic purposes in 1956, not because they were meant to host the Olympics again, but because Australia had an equine ban at the time, so the equestrian Olympians had to go elsewhere to compete. It also hosted Djurgården's IF soccer team until 2013, and it has held many DN Gallant track and field competitions. So, as I stated before, this stadium is located in Stockholm, Sweden, and because it was built for the purpose of hosting the Olympic Games, it is actually owned by the city. The stadium was built in the shape of a magnet with these two towers on the end, and if you look here, this is the two towers from the inside, and the stadium still holds that original shape, but the stands right here next to and in front of those two towers have been renovated a little bit, as well as inside of the towers there are dressing rooms that have been renovated to be a bit more modern and accessible. In terms of capacity for the stadium, when holding concerts, that allows people to put chairs or other seating on the actual field, so the capacity can get up to 33,000 people for concerts. However, when they are holding athletic events such as track and field or soccer or elsewise, such as the equestrian events that had to be held years ago, it is only possible for about 14,500 people to be in the facility at maximum due to that field space being taken away. Due to the versatility of this stadium, it allows the stadium to have a much larger economic impact on the local economy than some other stadiums can have when they host only sporting events or only concerts and things like that. But due to the fact that track and field events are being held here every single year, that is almost automatic tourism and money flow into the city that you can't get with many other events or things like that. So those track and field events, and when they were hosting the football teams, that is also guaranteed inflow of cash. But now that they are not actually hosting the Djurgården football team, they're still hosting some soccer games. It's just on a lesser level, so there's still that flow coming in through the city. But concerts are even larger of an economic impact due to the fact that capacity is over double for those events. That means that they are doubling the amount of people that are going to be in the city, almost doubling the amount of people that need to stay in the city or find something to eat in the area, which allows that cash flow to come in rapidly and at a very high rate. Overall, this stadium was very interesting to me, not only because it is located in the country for which Mondo jumps for, but also because my family is actually Swedish, so I just found looking into something that was in Stockholm was very interesting. But then once I started researching the facility and found that it was supposed to be temporary, but then it was turned into this large stadium that has been used for years and years, and literally over 1,000 years, it just kept getting more and more intriguing. And as I found that they hold such large events that it is very beneficial to the city, I think it's interesting when you look back on the kind of effects it would have had if this stadium was never built. It could completely change the economy and the well-being of the city but no one would have ever known that at the time because it was just supposed to be a little wooden building that got thrown up. But then they ended up building it with bricks and concrete and being very passionate about it being all built by Swedish materials and by a Swedish architect. So it just goes to show that one decision can change a lot, and I think that says a lot about the sport industry as a whole. These are the websites I used to find my information on the stadium. Thank you.